He needs no further introduction, but ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome Brendan on the stage, all right?
The cool part about slides is they tell stories. And right here, you see a hug. When I started my brand, Warm Heart Life, I had barely any likes, I had barely any views, barely any followers for years. But I started having people come up to me, low-key, who weren't even engaging in my content, and they would be like, Brandon, that post you made, that was so helpful. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And then one day at the bar, I had this girl come up to me that I met at St. Patty's Day, and I hadn't seen her since St. Patty's Day. This is years later, but we stayed connected on Instagram, and she just comes up to me. She just gives me the biggest hug I've probably ever had in my life, and she goes, Brandon, I love you. Thank you for doing what you do. So you never know the impact that your brand is having, and in the beginning, it's not easy. It's not easy to blow up your brand. So just understand, you could be impacting people without even knowing. With that said, the first key to blowing up your brand is to understand that people equal opportunities. Where there's people, opportunities start to arise. So you gotta think, I gotta go where people are that they can add value. This guy right in the back of the room, Guillory, he adds a lot of value to my life. I said, Guillory, man, I got all these scholarship tickets to my event. I had some people who were really helpful. I need you to help me bring some people. He brought a lot of people to that event. But then there's also the people who drain value. There's also the people who you bring up a good idea and they're like, why would you do that? That costs too much money. That's going to take too much time. Everyone who's tried that has been unsuccessful. Why would you do that? With team comes speed. With team comes speed. Wait. Let that sink in. With team comes speed. When you start to collaborate, when you start to work together with people, some incredible things happen. I went out on Saturday and I was sitting on my bed on Sunday. This is in January. And I was like, man, I got to do something productive today. So I put together a flyer and I sent it to Carl. I said, Carl, do you want to do this speaker school? He says, yes, let's do this speaker school. And in a week, we sold it out. And then now come November, we've actually had 5 speaker schools together. Yeah, thank you. Collaboration is the new form of currency. If you want to blow up your brand, you've got to constantly be thinking, who can I collaborate with? Who can I collaborate with? Because if you can collaborate with the right people, you're going to be able to accelerate your income, you're going to be able to accelerate your following, and you're going to be able to accelerate your impact. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina with my buddy Rob right there, and we're sitting in the car on the way back from LaGuardia, and we're just like, man, we've come a long way with how we can talk to people, with how engaging we are, and there's a lot of people that we can help out with to create more engaging conversations, to meet new people. So that day, we committed to doing a summer shape-up where we had 4 weeks, which every Zoom call revolved around a different thing to help people build stronger relationships. So collaboration is a new form of currency. Think, I want you to write this down as the slide flips. Who can I collaborate with? Who can I collaborate with? Sales follows attention. Sales follows attention. Sales follows attention. Sales follows attention. I could give 15 minutes of a talk and just say those 3 words, and you would exit this with 10 times the amount that you paid for it. Because so many people want sales, but so few are willing to get the attention that you need to get the sales. So if you want to make sales, you have to understand that you have to get attention. If they don't know you, they can't flow you. I started having events because I knew I needed to get attention. Anyone who's ever had an event knows it's not worth it unless you can see a reason past why you were doing it. Events, you go to bed at night when you're having an event and you just got 10 no's and your heart's just beating like this. You're like, what the heck did I just get myself into? I'm going to make a fool out of myself. And then after the event, you start to see all the opportunities that arise. You start to see the collaborations that happen. And then you're like, wow, that was worth it. But it was worth it because I got attention for my brand. Spend 90% of your time on promotion. Wait. I thought we were supposed to work on the business. No. Spend 90% of your time on promotion. When I had a coach tell me that, I was like, I'm spending 90% of my time with people, and that's how I'm generating revenue. He said, no. Spend 90% of your time on promotion, 10% on the rest of the things that you have to do for your business. I said, what? So I started thinking differently. I was like, what can I do with my business to focus 90% of my time on promotion? Because if you can focus on getting attention, you're going to start attracting the masses. I was at this conference in Las Vegas. This guy was speaking in front of 10,000 people. He did 1.5 million from that hour and 15-minute speech, and then he did another, I think, 1.5 million to follow that speech. He did 3 million from that 1 hour and 15-minute speech. But he spends a lot of his time promoting to be able to get those returns. So think, this is when you go to bed tonight, when you're at dinner, you're talking, how can I spend 90% of my time promoting? This changed my life. This guy, Dylan, right here, I said, Dylan, me and Dylan are working on something big right now, but I said I would not work on it with him unless he had his own event. So Dylan puts together his flyer. It was not a good flyer. And anyone who remembers this, so he sends a group text to everybody on his list. And we talked the next week. I'm like, Dylan, how did that go for you? He's like, not as good as I thought. I said, how many sales did you make? He said, not one. I said, okay, let's switch the action we're taking towards you actually calling people and connecting with them and telling them a little bit about what you got going on. So he committed to making 3 phone calls a day, and he sold that event out. Oversold it. Okay, so the third key, this is really important. I want you to listen real closely on this one, and I want you to really dive deep into the importance of this. Wait, listen to me. If you want to blow up your brand, you got to make your message clear. It's got to be so clear that you can see through the water. Because people need to see through your mind. Because it's so clear in your mind, but it's got to be so clear that it's clear in their mind. See, a lot of people tell their message like they're talking to a black sea. And you can't see through a black sea, but you can see through the water in Florida. And you need to make your message so clear that you can see through that water so they can see what's in your mind and it go into their mind. What do you do? What do you do? Man, what do you do? I'm sitting in there. This is last November. This is a year ago. I have like 5 minutes on the stage. I have like barely any time. And I said, man, I know one thing I am going to do. I'm going to tell them that my goal is to help 21 people get to 21K a month. And what happens? 2 people come up to me after that, and one of them was the second person who ended up getting to 21K about 6 months later. But I said, my goal is to help 21 people get to 21K a month. And that sparked the right interest for the people that needed to come up to me. See, Jason, my buddy Jason right there, he's a client of mine. We met at a bar. He barely remembered the conversation, but he remembered my goal, and it connected with him. He's like, that guy can help me. So think about that. What do I do? What do I do? This elevator pitch gets too complicated. What do you do? You get paid in the direct proportion to the difficulty of the problem that you solve. Wait. You get paid in the direct proportion to the difficulty of the problem that you solve. So a lot of people see Elon Musk, they're like, man, that guy's lucky. That guy, like, he works too hard. No. Elon Musk gets paid a lot of money because he solves difficult problems. And it's not just him, he has a big team of people. But the only reason he's able to get that big team of people is because he's very clear with what he's going after, and it's a problem that can change the world. So look at Tesla. What's the problem? Hey, there's too much gas being used. Okay, let's not use gas. Let's figure that out. Look at PayPal. A lot of you probably don't know that Elon Musk was the PayPal guy. It was an easier way to send money. And he was on top of that in the very beginning. SpaceX, figuring out how to go to Mars. No one has been able to figure out how to go to Mars. Oh, that's a difficult problem. I'm going to figure out how to solve that. Why not solve difficult problems? Why not solve them? You have an opportunity. You are alive right now. You have an opportunity to solve a problem. A lot of people ask me, hey, what inspires you? How are you so motivated? I watched this movie called Pay It Forward. And in this movie, this guy puts a chalkboard up. And he says, hey, I want you to think of an idea. This is the extra credit assignment. He said, I want you to think of an idea that can change the world and put it into action. And if you can do that, I will give you extra credit. You can do that at any point throughout the whole year. Oh. So now, you figured out what you do. You figured out a problem that people need help with. Now, you have to voice it out. You have to voice it out. I was like, man, the Palace Theater, that would be a cool place. That would be a cool place to sell out. I don't know how to do that. And I'm having this conversation with Dylan. He's like, Brandon, you can't tell me. He's like, you can't tell me you can't do something. So I voiced it out right there. And I was like, oh, okay. He's challenging me. Now let me pursue this challenge. I got to start voicing it out a little bit more. So I go to the Palace Theater. I get this whole contract. I get the rundown. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, whoa, holy crap. I'm talking to my mentor. She goes, Brandon, you know my events cost me $250,000. Are you willing to lose over 6 figures if this goes bad? I said, oh my gosh, I don't know. So I'm voicing it out, I'm talking it out to people, and then I go back to the Palace place, and they go, Brandon, I don't need you to put the deposit in because the artist is the hardest thing to do. And until you book the artist, don't even worry about putting the deposit down. So I'm calling agents, I'm direct messaging artists, I'm like anyone in their entourage, I'm like trying to figure out, how do you do this? I get in contact with an agent. He says, hey, we were actually looking to book an artist before the pandemic. So he sends me the contract. I have to submit it to the Palace. And then the Palace goes, hey, Brandon, your original vision, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But I'll tell you what, my boss loves the person that you're trying to book. So my boss is willing to co-promote this with you and collaborate with you on the event. I was like, whoa. So we'll see how that plays out 5 months from now. But because I started voicing it out, the pieces started coming together. Maybe you don't have to scream your lungs out, but that guy certainly did. Yeah. So I say this all to say, there's 2 types of people in this world. This is one of my favorite visuals ever. There's the people who say they're going to make things happen, and then there's the people who take the action necessary to make things happen. And my man right there, Guillory, he was sick of pretending. He was sick of saying, I'm going to have an event. I'm going to have an event. He said, you know what? I'm going to have an event no matter what. If 2 people show up, if 3 people show up, if 4 people show up, if 5 people show up, if 10 people show up, if 15 people show up, if 20 people show up, or a room full of incredible people like today that showed up. See, he committed. He said, I'm going to step into the ring no matter what. Rocky is one of my favorite movies because whether he won or lost, every single time, he stepped into the ring. He took punches, he took beatings, he took crap from his wife, but he stepped into the ring every single time. And when you step into the ring, you're going to inspire a lot of people. So let me leave you with this one thing, one last thing. Walt Disney talked about this concept. If anyone in here has ever been to Disney World, it's one of the most fascinating things on the planet. It's one of the biggest businesses in the planet. And he said this. He said, if you can dream it, you can do it. So if building your brand starts with a dream, why not dream big? Why not dream something so big that you can change the world? So change the world. And let's make some great things happen together. Thank you, Guillory. Great job, man.